Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and busts. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, an illegal migrant in this country who led police on a chase, then crashed a vehicle. He's in the hospital. He's been arrested, but not before he and his buddies started attacking an ICE agent. And at this time, there are a lot of protests taking place in Minneapolis. They're not protesting to support law enforcement. They're protesting against law enforcement. And the Department of Homeland Security says a lot of the rhetoric that's coming from Democratic officials is really playing a role in this. Ilhan Omar making a crazy statement a couple hours ago saying that Renee Good, that was the woman who died in the incident that took place last week, died because she chose love. Yeah, that's right. Omar says Renee Good died because she chose love. Does blocking the street sound like love? Does driving off sound like love? And then listen to the rhetoric here from Philadelphia DA Larry Krasner, because he's certainly fueling the flames in his city. Take a listen.
If any law enforcement agent, any ICE agent, is going to come to Philly to commit crimes, then you can get the F out of here. Because if you do that here, I will charge you with those crimes. You will be arrested. You will stand trial. You will be convicted, whether it's in state or federal court. It's my office prosecuting it. That's how the law works. And you will do your time, because Donald Trump cannot pardon you for a state court conviction. Do you hear me, ICE agents? Do you hear me, National Guard? Do you hear me, military? You're going to jail if you commit crimes in the city of Philadelphia. You will be accountable. The law applies to all of you. And I know that there are honest, decent, moral law enforcement officers out there by the bushel, including in ICE. This is not for you. This is for any one of your colleagues who thinks they are above the law.
And speaking above the law, clearly that applies to the Islamic Republic of Iran and the terrorist regime there. In the last few hours, they've been making some pretty big threats. First of all, saying that, what are you talking about, killing of protesters? It's not us. Wait till you hear what they said to Bret Baier, the foreign minister, saying to the Fox News host. And also Iran making a really sickening assassination threat against President Trump, putting out on Islamic State TV a picture of President Trump during the 2024 Butler rally assassination attempt. We all know how horrible that was. And with this one, they put the description, they put the picture of Trump at the Butler rally, and then said with the words, "This time it will not miss the target." If that's not a threat against the president of the United States, I don't know what is. As there is word that military intervention in Iran appears likely, that's what a number of military officials are saying privately, but yet President Trump publicly is saying that there doesn't seem to be any more killing taking place, that they're listening to them. So mixed messages for sure. I had to play this. Listen to Bret Baier, because he talked to the Iran foreign minister today, just a little bit ago, and talked about what the supreme leader was saying about the president of the United States.
If anybody is taunting President Trump, it is the supreme leader, who took to X and posted this, saying, for days now, calling President Trump a tyrant who will be overthrown. Why, if you're saying the Israeli outside forces inside your country are doing this, why would the supreme leader himself take to X and taunt the President of the United States?
Well, we were in the middle of a war started against us, and the rhetorics are quite normal in any war. We have many kind of threats by President Trump, by other American officials, by Europeans who are talking about Iranian, things in Iran. So we consider these 3 days, 8 January to 10, which we faced with a vast terrorism operation as the continuation of 12-day war that's were imposed on us by Israelis and Americans. So the 13th day of war was 8 January. That was the continuation of the war. So we were in the middle of the war. And now, after 3 days of terrorist operation, now there is a calm. We are in full control. And let's, hope that wisdom would prevail and we don't go for a high level of tension, which could be disastrous for everybody.
And you heard him there saying the terrorist operation. That's how he's describing the freedom fighters that, according to reports, are being machine gunned down. I mean, it's horrific. And so Brett pushed back at him and said, what do you mean by terrorist organizations? And the foreign minister made this bizarre claim saying that essentially it's the Israelis that are there in Iran, the Mossad undercover, provoking the forces, that for no reason at all, these forces are being attacked, they say, and they're just defending themselves. It's sheer lunacy. But listen to what the foreign minister went on to say.
And we've seen the video of body bags stacking up. You were saying that all of this is because you're not in control of your country and foreign elements are killing people inside your country?
No, I'm telling you that it was a fighting between our security forces and terrorist elements who had a plan to create a big number of killings in order to provoke President Trump to enter into this conflict and start a new war against Iran. And that was exactly an Israeli plot. The footages that you mentioned have not been seen in Iran. I have to tell you that a misinformation campaign is going on at the same time.
And you're suggesting that it's Israel and Mossad acting like Iranian forces, shooting the Iranian people to make casualties to spur on the action of President Trump. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that don't believe that, Mr. Foreign Minister.
No, Mossad has already confessed that.
They may be on the ground, sir, but as far as them killing hundreds and hundreds of people to make it look like you did, it does not appear in the video that we get out that this is a full level of calm. It appears that protests continue in a number of different cities.
I mean, that's insane. That is absolutely insane coming from the foreign minister there in Iran. And many people are wondering, is President Trump going to take some action? Potentially, he may in the next few days. It's sort of Trump's typical style to say, oh, yeah, things are calm. They're not killing anyone, as he's amassing assets in the region, also telling troops that could be in harm's way to get out on some of these bases. That's what happened last time, right before the U.S. unloaded on those Iranian nuclear facilities. And if we've learned something, it's not to count out President Trump, that he is always focused. And when he says he's going to do something, he does something. And the Iranians know it, too, because now they've blocked airspace over Iran. So there could be potentially a lot of activity happening there. Meantime, again, that Democratic National Committee Chairman Ken Martin actually comparing the freedom protesters there in Iran, who are so heroic to be doing that right now. He's comparing them to the anti-ICE protesters that are taking place, that are fighting against ICE agents and CBP agents across America. You have got to be kidding me. What a disgraceful comment from the head of the Democratic National Committee. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Liz in Florida on line 3. Go ahead, Liz.
Hi, Rita. I have two items to discuss, but I first want to say it's so nice having you back. You were really missed, and Dominic did a great job while you were away.
Thank you. I knew it was in good hands with Dom. I love Dominic, too, so
sure.
Thank you.
I was wondering how a reporter can truly go on vacation when the news just doesn't stop.
By the way, we can. We can. I was constantly looking at the news, following the news, especially when you love what you do, which I do, so it's part of your DNA. It's definitely part of mine.
For sure. So this is what I think. I think we need to get undercover agents, government agents, just like the Mossad, who go undercover, and they should mingle with the protesters and find out really where the money's coming from and who's in charge. And then the other day I was looking at my passport. Are you with me? I suggest everyone does. Make sure it's not expired. And the American passport, you should realize what a privilege it is to be an American. Do you know that it has the preamble to the United States Constitution? And it says, we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. And it's just, it's unbelievable. Like, domestic tranquility means peace and quiet at home within our nation, and it's preventing riots and social disorder. And this is what our government is about. So if you can't keep it, leave. If you have an American passport, read it and see how you're supposed to be behaving.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Look at the passport and look at the privilege of, like you just said, of being an American and coming to this country and what it means to be here in this country. It's right there in black and white. And when I see people, especially those who've come in on green cards and are coming in on visas and a variety of things, it's really troubling to me. It's so troubling. And if you look at the passport, it also says, hey, where were you born? It has a lot of details. And you're right. You can get very patriotic when you look at it. And by the way, when I look at my passport, I've traveled to so many countries, Liz, all over the globe. And I've traveled to some pretty bad spots, too. I mean, I've been in Afghanistan. I've been in Syria. I've been in some really tough spots through the years in my history reporting as a journalist. And I can tell you, every time I come back and I see the sign that says, welcome back to America, I have tears in my eyes because I know how great it is to be back in this country. And when you go to these other places around the world, I wish all these people here who are like protesting in the streets and they're complaining about what they call tyranny with ICE. I mean, first of all, how preposterous. They're out there protecting us and getting rid of the bad guys. But if they spent like 1 minute in some of these really difficult regimes around the globe, they would feel the same way I did. And they'd come back to America and they'd kiss the ground and be so appreciative to be in this country and to appreciate this country. And that's why these people are so detached from reality. Liz, let me ask you, why do you think it is? And somebody was talking about this today. I was watching this on the media, that a lot of these protesters that are out there that are, seem to be part of this ICE Watch group that are anti-ICE. They have the ICE manual that says use your car, use your body against ICE agents, do all these things. Many of them are Caucasian women. Why is that? What is going on with women? What's going on with us, Liz, that we would be so stupid to be falling for this? What is this indoctrination happening?
I wouldn't put you or me in that category. I really think that they're just bored out of their mind. They're probably one way of getting paid. They've got noodles in their brain, Rita. And as long as the fake media continue to spit these ugly lies, and as long as Fry and Waltz and all those left Michiganas continue to incite hatred against ICE and President Trump, nothing will change. We need to do something about this. But I think that you've got cult leaders. They're cult leaders, and that's what they're doing. And these women, they're bored at home, right? And they feel like they've joined like a mahjong game or, something that they should feel proud of, which is ridiculous. I'm telling you, noodles in their brain.
Yeah, I think that that's a good description because I sit there going, just like you said, like, don't you have something, A, better to do? B, how desperate are you? And also, it's so dangerous, as we just saw what happened, sadly, to Renee Good. I mean, it's such a dangerous thing to go out there and provoke law enforcement, block the roadways where they're trying to do something. And I'm really worried that this is going to get a lot worse, sadly, before it's going to get better. That's the problem, because we saw sort of what happened. I brought up 2020, and that was a nightmare that I think, the quote, summer of love, where Minneapolis, as we're going back to that again, Minneapolis, remember, a lot of it burned to the ground, including the police station, Liz. And I'm worried we're sort of headed back in that direction if things don't get underhand. And I don't see anything. I mean, tonight, Tim Walz puts out a video statement and he's basically saying, record police, record this, do this, follow them. So you have a record of the crime. I mean, that kind of rhetoric is so dangerous. And when you have people with noodles in their brain, unfortunately, they're susceptible to a lot of this. And that is dangerous stuff, Liz. And I think noodles is a great way to describe it. I like noodles, so I don't even know if I want to say noodles. But Liz, you're terrific. Thank you very much. 1-800-848-9222. And we'll continue your calls, everybody, after the break.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Demo, not for broadcast. Property of WABC New York.
If you're thinking about changing schools, why wait? At Manhattan University, love those guys. You don't have to start over. With transfer-friendly pathways, your credits count, and you keep moving forward. From day one, you're part of Jasper Nation, preparing for the real world. And with New York City just a train away, opportunity is everywhere. Ready to move forward without missing a step? Visit manhattan.edu/transfer and enroll today. Manhattan University. Don't start over, move forward.
This is the Rita Cosby Show.
And it seems like the guy tonight who was on the lam was in the fast lane, and then he turned the attack on officers. Let's go to Pat in New Jersey on line 1. Pat, your thoughts tonight.
Hi, Rita. Rita, I have some really mixed emotions about some things. One is I come from a law-abiding family and a law enforcement. Usually there's a time when you have a lot of people wanting to be officers and going to the academy. Well, that's sinking. There are people that they just don't want to sign up because they know that the people that are supposed to represent us are not going to be there. They're just adding fuel to the fire.
That's a great point, Pat. And that's what I worry about, just like you said. It makes it tough to want to sign up and be an officer. That's what I think the game is.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Rita Cosby is on.
Well, some stunning statements coming out just a little bit ago. Some breaking news. Jacob Frey, of course, who is the mayor of Minneapolis, is commenting about this latest shooting involving ICE officers. This one, they were trying to get an illegal immigrant from Venezuela with a criminal history. The guy crashed his vehicle and then started assaulting the officer. Then 2 other guys helped that assault against the officer. So there are 3 guys against the officer, beating the officer with snow shovels and broom handles. And then the officer shoots the guy in the leg and stops the attack on him. I would say bravo that the officer's alive. But now just a few moments ago in a press conference, Jacob Frey the guy who told ICE needs to get the F out of the city, he just came out and said the situation is not sustainable. And I'm always the optimist, hoping the next words out of his mouth is going to be, we must respect law enforcement. No. He said we must protect our neighbors. He seems to be defending the attackers, the guys with the shovels and the broom handles who are beating the officers. And then he started blasting ICE yet again. This is so disgraceful. And then he said ICE is creating chaos in Minneapolis, as opposed to ICE is protecting the citizens of Minneapolis. This guy should never be mayor again. This guy and his rhetoric, along with Tim Walz and some of these others, are exactly why we're in this situation, that for political reasons, and this is the same guy, let's not forget, who was the mayor when Minneapolis was burning to the ground during the BLM riots. And sadly, we may have part 2 coming up soon, courtesy of this horrible rhetoric where he is now tonight, after an officer almost got killed by 3 people who are pummeling him with snow shovels and broom handles. And the best that this guy can do tonight, you can tell I'm fired up, the best this guy can do tonight is start blasting ICE and saying they're the ones creating chaos. I guess he would rather have murderers and rapists and these other people that would attack officers on the streets. That would make Minneapolis so much safer. Wow. What are your thoughts tonight, guys? 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Meantime, there's a lot of rhetoric coming from New York. Governor Kathy Hochul putting out the word saying that she would also allow for legal action to take place against ICE officers, essentially allowing New York residents to sue ICE officers. That was one of the things that she heralded in her State of the State address. And here is Zoran Mondani, because he doubled down today. He put out a tweet essentially saying, Donald Trump, don't you ever think about sending ICE agents in. We will not cooperate. We are a sanctuary city. We're not going to cave because Donald Trump came out and said that he's going to withhold federal funds to sanctuary cities and states. And let's not forget what Zoran Mondani said not that long ago, and he's holding true to form. Here he is.
Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, said this week that in response to that video you put out about knowing your rights, what to do if ICE comes knocking on your door, if you were mayor, you could have been violating the Constitution of the United States, and that she intimated that the Department of Justice might be looking into it. What's your response to Kristi Noem?
I'm proud to inform people of their rights, and I can't think of a more American thing to do than to speak about the protections that we all have under the law.
Are you prepared? Gavin Newsom told me he was prepared to be arrested. Tom Homan threatened anybody that stands in the way could be arrested. You've been arrested before, standing up for people's rights. J.B. Pritzker told me that Donald Trump should come and get me. You prepared to be arrested by the federal government if you stand up to their immigration enforcement?
I'm prepared for any consequence that comes for standing up for New Yorkers, because that's my job. That's what I ran to do. And I think that it's time that New Yorkers look at City Hall that's right here and see a reflection of their struggles as opposed to a reflection of the scandal that has engulfed so much of our politics.
A bunch of gobbledygook. And Jason Fry, again, the latest word, Jacob Fry, the Minneapolis mayor, who's like a mini Mondani, I should say, coming out and blasting ICE tonight after an officer was nearly beaten to death. That's an incredible moment. And then you've got Mayor Mondani doubling, tripling down, and you've got an election year with Governor Kathy Hochul kowtowing to Mondani. This is a dangerous situation for America. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Sandra in New Jersey on line 5. Go ahead, Sandra. Your thoughts tonight.
Oh, good evening, Rita. You know, words really do stick in our minds. I was very surprised when I read that Michael G. Anaris, he is the Senate Governor Majority Leader.
Yep, he's the Deputy Majority Leader.
Right, and he denounced ICE agents as garbage human beings. I read that a week ago, and you know, it's still on my mind that he said that. So I realized that it's all coming from the top on the wrong side. They are setting the wrong message, and people are listening, and then they think it's okay to behave the way they're doing. And this man said this, and it really bothers me that I looked him up and everything. He looks like a decent guy, and oh my God, for him to say that.
And guess where he's from? You probably know this, Sandra.
I think Queens,
yes.
Queens, I think.
Yes, he's a Democrat from Queens, from Mondani land. He's from Mondani land, you know?
Oh my God.
I know.
I don't know what we're
and by the way,
do.
it bothered me too, because he denounced ICE agents, calling them garbage human beings. I mean, what a terrible thing to say.
Terrible. And you know, I have to say, people ought to read this. Miranda Devine, she wrote, "Lawlessness is a choice," and it's a publication from Hillsdale College Imprimis. All this is happening because they choose this on the top. It's all choices that they're all making. The judges, the Congress, all of them. They're all choosing this way of going, and that's why it's happening. And then I just wanted to say one more thing real quick. I understand this young man, Sotani, he's supposed to be hung tomorrow, and I pray not. And I read today that he had 10 minutes to see his family, and if the family did anything to protest, they would get threatened. I mean, it's really pretty scary. So I hope this is not going to happen. I hope what I think I heard you say, maybe they put a hold on it.
Yes, and in fact, it was supposed to be, he's in I think he's 26. This is the guy in Iran. And you're right, that he was scheduled to be sort of made an example of by the regime, and they were going to do a public hanging. It was supposed to happen today. And then President Trump came out this afternoon and said he's hearing that there will be no execution. So I hope to goodness that obviously that includes this young man. And I hope it doesn't. I hope it also includes everybody else who's out there peacefully protesting there in Iran. And I'm wondering what Trump is doing, because on one hand he's saying that, but I don't believe the regime, and I don't think Trump believes. He's a very smart man. I don't think he believes the regime, but maybe he's buying time to plan some sort of action or do something, because this clearly is a very powerful moment in Iran, and I don't think it should be missed. And I think Trump is obviously figuring out what is the best way, along with Israel. Maybe this is a moment for history, another moment for history. And certainly Trump knows how to do that better than anybody. What did you make, Sandra, of the fact that this Ken Martin guy, he's head of the Democratic National Committee, and he has compared anti-ICE protesters, these crazy people that are out there protesting against ICE, many of them violently, to the Iranian freedom fighter protesters who are fighting against a regime like these people are fighting against tyranny. And every time it makes me sick to my stomach when I hear Jacob Fry, who just a few minutes ago used the same phrase that we must protect our neighbors. And the neighbors are like these murderers, rapists, and pedophiles, Sandra.
I know, Rita. They're going to take anything and twist it to make it sound like how they want it to sound. And they're very good at that. And they'll just take anything, twist it around, and make it sound like it's okay. No, I think it's terrible. And, I was sitting here in my office and I was watching the ICE agents here. This is going on like in Minnesota. And I'm looking at them and I'm saying to myself, they're tough guys and they're intimidating, and maybe people don't like that. I'm trying to be a little bit objective, but really, and I did see how they get these guys out of the car and they have them on the floor. It's pretty rough out. But Rita, they as long as they're singling out the right people and they're not hurting anyone else, then I think it's okay. But I just worry, how people perceive this, like what you're saying, how they say it. So I'm looking at this here. It's going on right now. It keeps repeating it over and over, and I'm watching these guys, these policemen with the green suits, and they're nice. They're not. They stand there. They're not bothering anyone, but they did take those guys out of the car, and they were on the ground, and there were a lot of them on top of them, and I don't know, Rita, what to think of all this. It's so crazy.
Well, and I think it's clearly being twisted by the Democrats to make it sound like, I mean, even in this instance, can you imagine? I just described the details of what happened in this case. And if you have 3 people who are beating an ICE agent in Minneapolis, which is what Department of Homeland Security says happened tonight, and one of them had a criminal history beyond coming into the country illegally, had a criminal history, and then started assaulting an officer, and then two of his buddies come out and start assaulting an officer. And yet tonight, the rhetoric from the mayor there is against ICE. And they're protesting on the streets there. And I was looking at some images just recently. They're like winding up like snowballs and using this. I use the frozen bottle. That's so dangerous. A bottle with frozen ice in it. That is unbelievably dangerous. I mean, that's a deadly weapon if you throw it at somebody's head. I mean, that is a very dangerous. And so what are these people out there protesting? They're protesting that somebody was beating an officer, got away? And luckily in this case, they got caught and the officer shot the person in the leg. And the officer is supposed to just get beaten to a pulp? I mean, does this make any sense to you, Sandra?
No,
these people have really lost their mind and they're just looking for a reason to create havoc. And that's what I think they did in the summer of 2020, where things got so out of hand and it was like a free for all and they were breaking into stores and doing all these other destructive things. And I'm worried that that's where we're headed. I mean, there were 1,000 of these protests last weekend, and the people are so crazy that they're going to protest against ICE after they were getting beaten down. Shame on these Democrats, too, for fueling the flames. Right, Sandra?
Right. Lawlessness is a choice. That's what Miranda says in this article. This is what they want, and this is what's happening.
Yeah.
This is how they want it to be.
No, you are exactly right, and also Miranda, too. And that's a very sadly insightful point. And I think you and she are right on that, and that really breaks my heart for America. And that's why I do believe it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's an election year. Tensions are high, and Democrats are stirring the pot. And that's why already they're talking about impeachment. I mean, tonight they're talking about impeaching Trump. They're talking about impeaching Kristi Noem. They're talking about abolishing ICE. And I think they're going to try all of the above if they get one of the chambers. If they get the House, it's going to be gridlock central. It's going to be impeachment mania every single day. And that's not good for America in any shape or form. And that's why Republicans, by the way, need to get out there and they need to get the message out. This is who they are arresting. They're putting it out there, but I think they need to do it a lot louder with a bigger bullhorn and need to say, here's who we got. Here's who we arrested. These are your neighbors. These are the neighbors you want to keep in the community. I think anybody with half a brain would say, not in my community. Let's go to Max in Manhattan, line 4. Go ahead, Max, your thoughts.
Rita, thank you for taking my call. Let's not forget that we've had Venezuela involved with the Diebold and Smartmatic voting machines. So when our elections were going on, these were electronic voting machines that were being miscalculated.
But wait, Max, you're all over the place. Let's focus on what's happening tonight with ICE, all right? Let's focus on that, please. What is your reaction to this rhetoric coming against ICE tonight after a guy was almost beaten to a pulp?
Look, what the Dems are good at are putting out advertisements against ICE. They're very good at putting this out with AOC and Bernie Sanders. We are not good at that. The conservatives are not good at countering that and trying to explain to them, look, we want a city that functions. We want towns that function. You cannot behave like this. You're overthrowing it. You're wreaking havoc here.
I agree. And by the way, you're right that the Republicans clearly need to do better messaging to say this is truly insane. I mean, it needs to be called out for the sheer dangerous political games that I believe Democrats are definitely playing. And it's at many people's expense. And they don't care. As long as they can fuel the flames, they'll do it. And that's a sad reality. Max, thank you. Great point. And we're going to continue your calls, everybody. 1-800-848-9222. But first, support our heroes.
The Rita Cosby Show presents Support Our Heroes.
And this is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Support Our Heroes segment. You know how much I love this incredible organization. And this story coming from Ocala, Florida, where U.S. Army Captain Stephen Petty, who is no stranger to leadership and service, He served in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War as a helicopter pilot, and he was awarded a vast number of decorations, including the Silver Star, the Bronze Star, Distinguished Flying Cross, and Purple Heart. And just recently, on January 10th, Marion County there in Florida proclaimed Captain Steve Petty Day, honoring him for his service. What a beautiful way to honor him. And, of course, to all of our great Vietnam veterans and their families, we love you, we appreciate you, and welcome home. And everybody support America's military and first responder heroes. Donate $11 a month. That's all it takes to make such a huge difference with the incredible Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Be sure to check them out at T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And let's continue with your calls tonight. An officer almost beaten to death by 3 illegal migrants who were beating him with a shovel and also broomsticks. And what does the mayor of Minneapolis do? He comes out and bashes ICE, says they're creating chaos against the beautiful neighbors there in Minneapolis, as opposed to condemning the attack on this ICE agent. Thank goodness the ICE agent survived. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Frank in Ontario, Canada. Frank, what do you think?
Hi, Rita. Love you. Love calling you.
Thank you. You too. You too. Thank you, Frank.
Great. Anyway, all your callers are correct. I mean, the ICE agents are just doing their job. They're federal agents. You attack a federal agent, what do you expect?
By the way, Frank, you attack any agent. You attack a police officer on the streets of any city in this country. You should get the book thrown at you. You're supposed to respect authority, and yet and yet the problem is we've got these liberal leaders out there like a Jacob Fry who can't wait to condemn ICE. I mean, how twisted is that?
Yes. I agree with you with the police officers, and I agree with you 100%. And I believe Mr. Waltz, with his tail between his legs, you take another look at that one he posted not too long ago, how nervous he is. He knows what's coming to him. And I believe he knew all about this fraud. And this Fry guy, he's just unbelievable. He's just ridiculous, a representative. And if these people vote him in again, I know Waltz has said, I'm not running again. Well, gee, I wonder why. It's just ridiculous, Rita.
It is. And you know what? All I can say is pray for America. Frank, thank you. It's always great to hear from you. Let's go to Tony real quick in Clifton on line 4. Go ahead, Tony.
All as I could say is this is better than watching Mayberry RFD, because you got the police chief, right? And I don't know his name, but Barney Fife had a saying. It's, I guess you could say, and this is what he said. He said, I guess you could sum it up. The only thing this chief didn't say, Rita, is I guess you could sum it up. There's 3 reasons why there's so little crime in Mayberry. There's me, there's Mayor Fry, and there's Governor Walsh.
Yeah, you're right.
Makes 3.
You're right. The 3 Musketeers, or maybe it's Abbott and Costello and back to Abbott. You know, who's on first? Those guys are clueless. The scary thing is it's also dangerous. Talk to you tomorrow night, guys.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.